Yo, what is up, Clippers fans? We are here. I am standing on the wood in Staples Center right now. I am joined for the post-game report today by the homie Cam Buford. Go ahead, talk to the people, let them know where they can find you at.
Voice of Fans on Instagram. What's Good in Sports on Twitter. What's up, fellas?
Alrighty, Cam's a senior veteran report for not only the NBA but multiple other sports, so thank you for joining me today, Cam. I'm also joined here with my co-star of Hoops and Brews, rapper extraordinaire, as he likes to be called. Also, he likes to now be called an NBA savant as well, so we're gonna continue to add those on. NBA savant, rapper extraordinaire, Pavy. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. How you feeling?
I'm doing good. So, overall thoughts on this game tonight. Obviously, the Clippers came up short tonight versus the Bucks. They rallied back late in the game behind Landry Shamet's 14 points in the fourth quarter. They tried to come back. Obviously, Kawhi didn't play. Load management was a huge topic in the media amongst the circus that was going on. I talked to Doc Rivers today. He was not too kind to us in the press conferences before the game because he knew all the questions were going to be about load management. And when I asked him what he thought about the hoopla surrounding load management, he said, I haven't thought about it. I'm not in the hoopla. What are your guys' thoughts on the Clippers load managing Kawhi? Obviously, a game like this is pretty much for them depending upon a team that they play. Not necessarily a given, loss, but it's not necessarily a given W as it would be if you had a Kawhi Leonard on the floor, which would give you a better chance. Cam, I'm gonna ask you first. What are your thoughts on load management? Do you think that it's the proper strategy? And do you agree more with the fans who say they're being cheated when guys load manage, or do you think that it's more so about the players' bodies?
Well, obviously, as a fan, we want to see the best of the best play each other. So I agree with that, and I'm kind of disappointed in that sense that we didn't get to see Giannis and Kawhi.
Yeah.
But after talking to this to multiple people, I come in agreement. So first of all, you got to pick your battles. So which game if you're going to load manage, what game would you rather load manage? Giannis and the Bucks or Dame and Kim Basemore in the Blazers? So that's I understand it from that aspect. Also, there's nothing to improve against the Bucks with Kawhi personally. The Clippers do have something to improve, but Kawhi personally against the Bucks, I mean, he swept in 4 games in a row, kind of the gentleman's sweep, if you will. So there's really nothing to prove there. So in that aspect, I kind of get it. I wasn't thinking about that prior to the game, but because as a fan, I want to see Kawhi against Giannis, Kawhi's new team against Giannis. That's kind of what I thought about and wanted to see. However, I kind of understand a little bit better after the game, kind of why that game didn't transpire that way.
Okay, and Pavy, how do you feel about load management? Do you agree with the tactic? Do you think that it's time for these guys to just kind of suck it up and get out on the court because they're being paid hundreds of millions of dollars? What do you think about it?
Nah, man. These guys know their bodies best, and if he thinks that he needs time off to be able to, because really for the Clippers it's about April. It's not about November 6th. Yeah. It's not about November 6th. Yeah. I mean, we would love to see Giannis against Kawhi on November 6th, but I would rather see Giannis against whoever in April and have that man be healthy. And even last season, look at what happened. He load managed half the season and was on one leg in the finals, limping around, knee issue. Even the Bucks series, after the Philly series, that's not the same Kawhi we saw for the rest of the playoffs. So I feel like he needs this. And you see the results when he does load manage. You see what happens, and I don't really have an issue with it. I know people gonna feel how they feel, but I don't have an issue with it personally.
Yeah, me personally, I don't have an issue. I think a lot of people don't kind of take into consideration that these guys are human beings, and sometimes you might just be like, you know what, I don't need to do this because I don't want to have to deal with my knee flaring up for 3 months during the season, and I still got to go out there, play heavy minutes. Obviously, it's not even Thanksgiving yet, and people are complaining about load management. Don't complain now. Complain later when there are actual playoff games and real standings potentials and things of that sort on the line versus early on in the season when, let's be honest, nobody really cares about this game on November 6, 2019 in regards to Kawhi Leonard's performance or how he would have performed. He could have dropped 80 tonight, and we would have been like, that was a smooth game. But you know what? Me and you probably would have been saying on HoopsNBrews, it's November. So it's November, guys. Relax. Let the man prepare his body. Let him get ready. Obviously, once Paul George comes back, which he is supposedly going to start 5-on-5s this week, we could be potentially looking at him coming back in the next 2 weeks. What are your thoughts on the Clippers as they move forward with both Kawhi Leonard and Paul George? Because obviously, there probably will be some level of load management for both of the guys. Cam, I'm going to ask you first.
Well, I think they're, as Pav mentioned, the load management won them a championship. So in that, from the player standpoint, and what you already mentioned, that these are their bodies, they're looking long term. Yeah. I agree with that. Just as the fans aren't going to see that, they're not going to understand that. Yeah. So with Paul George coming back, I guess Kawhi's going to miss 20 games. Whenever it happens, he'll miss 20 games. we got 18 more games that he'll miss throughout the year. Paul George coming back, I'm interested to see this dynamic of what Paul George brings to the squad, take some of the ball out of Lou Williams' hands, take some of the expectations from Larry Shamet, and then
Landry,
there. Thank you for correcting me.
You called him Larry.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
No, I want to see truly what Paul George brings to this team, because there's space for him. And then kind of as the rest of the team, you didn't mention Montrezl Harrell had 34 tonight, so that he's big balling. But when Paul George come back, he's still going to be able to get them buckets. So I'm interested to see what these guys do when they come back. They'll be at full strength. I think it's going to be a good defensive squad. Obviously, Doc likes to say they're going to be long. I think they're going to be a talented defensive squad. Paul George is going to be great for 3 quarters.
Speaking of defense, obviously that's not been their strong suit this year. Really has been more so offensively. Pavy, what do you think Paul George will add to them defensively? We spend a lot of time arguing with people on Twitter if this team is going to be good. People claim that they don't have the defenders. You and I think differently. What are your thoughts?
I mean, for the most part, outside of the Lakers, who has been good this year defensively? I mean, every team's putting.
I mean, the Utah Jazz are habitually good. I don't like the Jazz, but I mean, the facts are facts.
But outside of the Lakers and maybe a couple other teams, everybody's putting up 130. Granted, like it's November, with the way the rules are, the game is played. You can't really stop teams from scoring points. But I don't think anybody with actual basketball acumen thinks that these Clippers can't lock up when it's time to lock up. Granted, like you said, it's November. Kawhi's missed some games. They've had people out, so they don't even have chemistry on that side of the ball yet. But I think, I think bringing Paul George back and everything, I think we're in for scary times. Even like tonight, you see how they fought without Kawhi and without Paul George. And even other games, they're doing this without Kawhi. They're 5-3? Yeah. And Kawhi missed 2 games. So really, I want to say they kind of 5-1 to me, honestly. Yeah. So again, I just think we're in for scary times, and I think that it's going to be a seamless transition. Even with Paul George, he can spot up shoot. It's not like he needs the ball to score. It helps, but he can also spot up shoot. He's dynamic. And defensively, like you said, top 3 defensive player, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. And when he gets back, in my opinion, you have three out of the best 5 defenders in the league on perimeter defenders in the league on one court in Patrick Beverley, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George. So, I think it'll be great.
Yeah. And speaking of Pat Bev, Bev was all over the floor in the second half tonight. I actually got a chance to ask Doc Rivers about, Pat Bev's energy coming out into the second half. He came out, he put up, 9 points in the third quarter, hit a couple threes. A lot of people think that he will be the weak link for this team offensively. I think that the energy and effort that he plays with, is a lot of, the times we talk about Draymond Green, is certain things you can't really replace, and Draymond is kind of one of those guys. And I think for this team, even when Kawhi isn't there, Pat Bev is still going to make sure that guys are being held accountable. Even when Paul George isn't there, even when Will isn't there, Pat Bev is always really going to be the guy that's the vocal leader of this team. And even when you go in the locker room, though, usually the person that I hear talking is Pat Bev, making jokes, laughing, talking to the reporters, to the press, and things of that sort. Coach, can you speak about Patrick Beverley in the second half? He came out very fiery. I believe he put up 9 points in the third quarter. Yeah. You just talk about that energy came out of halftime.
It's just who he is, Chicago kid. I say it every night. He's just a tough rascal, man. Like, he wants to win. He believes you can win every night, no matter who's on the floor, and that spills over to everybody else on the team.
So, anyways, to go ahead and move on to this really quickly, Giannis. What did you guys think about Giannis? This is my first time seeing Giannis in person. He was a monster tonight. He gave us 38, 16, and 9 assists. What are your thoughts on him and his development as he kind of continues to come back off of his MVP campaign?
I think for one, I've always been critical of Giannis. All he do is dunk. Yeah. Like last season, he had how many dunks? Led the league in dunks. He didn't dunk outside of when they in transition once today. He's not dunking no more. Yeah. So now he's actually scoring the ball. You see him in the post shooting fadeaways. He even hit Jermichael Green with a nice little up and under move. And we're at the point with Giannis where he's a decent set shooter. I don't know if his form will ever allow him to be a great off the dribble shooting step backs, but as far as his set shot or one with a rhythm dribble pull up, he's really good to the point where you have to at least put a hand up. You can't just drop a mile off him because he will hit that shot. So I got to commend Giannis. Again, I've been very critical of Giannis as far as offensively, defensively, but offensively I've been very critical of him. I got to commend him. He's went in the gym and he's gotten better, and I think that I don't think he's putting as much stress on his body this year as he was last year. Like if you're getting to the rim and dunking every play, that means you're taking a whole lot of contact, especially running legs that get you to twist ankle and things like that. So to me, his game this year has been pretty good to watch, and I got to commend Giannis for that.
Okay, before I ask Cam about his thoughts, I just want to play this quick clip of Giannis talking to me about his playmaking abilities and kind of his role within the team. He pretty much said that he hasn't really changed anything that he's been doing, even though his assists have gone up more than 2 last year, kind of on an average perspective. He says he's just playing within the offense, and he says that he doesn't feel as sharp as he did last year. Check out this clip right here.
Are you making a more concerted effort this year to be a playmaker? It just seems like you're really putting forth a lot of assists this year.
Actually, no. I think of learning the game better. Obviously, I'm not as sharp as I want to be, so that leads me to make more plays. And I think I got teammates that can knock down shots, and it's way easier. Like a lot of guys, show their bodies, and if I pass the ball, guys knocking down shots. Like you got Kyle Korver, you got Wesley Matthews, George Hill, Dante. They can make plays. They can knock down shots. So it's them. It's them. I'm just doing the same thing that I've been doing all year. But they're able to knock down shots. That's why I got a couple assists.
All right, so huge shout out to Giannis for answering that question. It was a swarm of reporters in the locker room. This place is currently filling up night after night. We're starting to see more and more press here. But as I was talking about Giannis, what are your thoughts? Because when we just cut away to that clip really quickly, you didn't seem like you agree with Pavy's notion that Giannis can't do anything offensively other than dunk. What are your thoughts, Cam?
Well, I was surprised that you said the MVP could only dunk. That was surprised about that. We're gonna have a conversation about that later.
He led the league. He had the most dunks last year since Shaq.
But that wasn't the only thing he could do.
Offensively, as far as scoring the ball, he dunked a lot.
He dunked a lot, but I don't know that was the only thing he could do.
Watch the playoffs. If he wasn't getting to the rim, where was he scoring?
It was everything is close down in the paint. You're not wrong about that, but it wasn't only dunks. So tonight, and I'm glad you admitted that he's developed a game, or you've seen some development in his game, because he did. Harold sagged back a couple times to the free throw line, and he pulled up and he shot that 3. So I think he's going to be able to shoot that 3. Now I wanted to see that. I wanted to see if he could develop that jumper, because I think he hit about 2 or 3 of them, if I'm not mistaken.
4.
Well, there you go.
4, 7.
So that's pretty good. And if he can get the defense to drive to come out a little bit more, that's going to give him more room to get to the hole. And then he was playmaking. So I think that was the development of his game. The next step of the game as he was developing. He was going to the hole, but then he was kicking it out. And Hill was hot. At one point he was 5 for 5 from the 3. So that was a good look, and that's helped the Bucks kind of develop their game and kind of makes them stronger. But yeah, I was surprised about that, Mr. Youngin.
Alrighty, so before we get ready to get out of here, Pavy talked to Doc Rivers post-game about Lou Williams' defense. He's been a guy this year that you have actually seen step up and play defense. Obviously tonight, George Hill had a big night. Kyle Korver was fairly decent, and Eric Bledsoe had a good night overall. But what have what are your thoughts about Lou Williams so far this season? And then we'll go ahead and play your clip when you talk to Doc.
Tonight he got lost a couple times, but as far as just what you can ask out of Lou Will, like he's not gonna be Gary Payton, but when it comes to defense, if you just try, you'll at least be sufficient, like decent. And I gotta commend Lou, like he's been trying, like he's been playing defense like he wants to win a championship. Like he's taking it upon himself, like, yo, you're not just gonna go out here and just walk all over me defensively. He gets his hands in there, he's active, he takes charges. Like these are things that every basketball player can do. You can take a charge, you can be in the right position, you can use your hands, you can be active. So I gotta commend Lou Will for that. Because that's one of the things I noticed this season. Like outside of his scoring, he's actually trying defensively. Now some of that may be because he has more energy. Obviously he doesn't have you have Kawhi with you, then you have Paul George with you, so you don't have to expend as much energy as you did last year or the year before trying to get buckets, because they would just be easier for you. But again, I got to commend them for going out there and at least attempting and putting forth effort defensively. And I wanted to ask Doc about that because that was something that I've actually seen this season.
Yeah, so speaking of that, I'm going to go ahead and play this clip, check out Doc Rivers' response, which was actually very, very funny.
Coach, can you speak about Lou's defense this season? I feel like he doesn't get a lot of credit for it, but I feel he's been really engaged on that side of the ball.
Did Lou ask you to ask that question? Because Lou last game, I will say this. I texted Lou, I think, yesterday or day before yesterday, and I said, listen, everything we asked you to do on defense, you did. And then I texted him back, please tell me this is the first time you've ever got a text from a coach like this in your life. The answer was yes, which was a little troubling. But no, he's been great. He's trying to do what we've asked him to do. He has great hands, and that's what we're trying to get him to be able to put him in places where he can use his hands.
All right, so final thoughts on tonight. Obviously, the Clippers walk away with a kind of tough loss, and there was a lot of hoopla in the media today. They have a back-to-back. They play the Portland Trail Blazers tomorrow. We will be here covering the game and watching it as media. So what are your thoughts tomorrow? Obviously, Kawhi will probably play. Well, I guess not, but I mean, he probably will play tomorrow. What are your thoughts on the game tomorrow? Do you expect a huge game from Kawhi, and what are your final thoughts on the game today?
I expect the Blazers. I think the Blazers are gonna come in with a different mindset because they got embarrassed in Oakland, and I don't think it'll be easy. I do expect the Clippers victory, but I think there's gonna be a game that they're gonna have to fight for because I think the Blazers season is on the verge of going the wrong way. With Zach Collins going down, I don't think they expected that, especially before Nurk being back and him going down basically for pretty much a season, sideline 4 or 5 months with a shoulder injury. They are really, really small now. They really, really miss guys like Mo Harkless and Iminu. But I do think that they're going to come out guns blazing. They ain't going to want to put on the performance. CJ, who got embarrassed by basically rookies with scored 8-9 points. I think he going to come back out, trying to really, force the issue. But all that said, I do expect the Clippers victory. I think the Clippers have the better team. And again, Kawhi had a night off. He didn't do anything today. So I expect him to come out tomorrow, continue his 30-point streak, continue playing great defense, and continue playmaking. So I'm expecting the Clippers victory, but it will not be easy. Probably something to the tune of, I want to say, 121 to 111 if I had to put a score on it. Okay,
and I'm going to keep it G, Kawhi. I was not rocking with that fit today. It was like plaid all over with Louis Vuitton shoes, Kawhi. We holla at Pavy. He could be a stylist. Cam, what are your thoughts? Final thoughts on the night, and who do you think wins the Blazers-Clippers game tomorrow?
Final thoughts on tonight. Yeah, even though the fans were disappointed, it turned out to be a pretty good game, a 5-point game with the Clippers bench essentially playing the game. I think that with Kawhi in the game looked completely different. Kawhi and Paul George, the game looks completely different. Tomorrow night, I think it's going to be a 20-point blowout. The Portland Trail Blazers don't have enough. You mentioned Collins going down, even though your CJ wants to kind of put up a point, he's going against Pat Bear. If he's going against Kawhi Leonard tomorrow, it's going to be a 20-point win tomorrow. That's why I got Clippers by 20.
All right, cool. And I think that the Clippers are going to walk away, but I actually think it'll be a little bit more of a low-scoring game. I'm going to take the Clippers to win tomorrow 105 to 101. I think Dame Lillard will show out. Yeah, that's a close game, 105 to 101. I think it'll be a close game. And I think that Dame Lillard will come out tomorrow and put on the show, probably put up about 40, but I don't think it'll be enough. I think with Montrezl putting up 30 tonight, Lou putting up 30 tonight, I think those guys are showing that they are primed and ready to go on offense at any given time. And I think Dame will put on the show, but ultimately it won't be good enough. Anyways, it's been your boy TPJ of Hoops and Brews, H&B Media. Thank you for tuning into the new show in LA, Postgame Show. It is your boy TPJ. I've been joined by my special guest today. Cam, go ahead, get your final thoughts in, or your final words.
Thanks for having me, first of all, guys. Stay with the Clippers, man. You guys have good topics, good content all year long. I appreciate that. We dig into that, so keep it coming. But stay with the Clippers. The Clippers, when they get Kawhi back, I think or when they get Paul George back in a couple weeks, Paul George is going to be great. He does have some help in Superman, Kawhi Leonard, that take the burden off of both of them guys. And I think they're going to explode once Paul George actually gets back on the court. So keep looking at the Clippers, and they're going to take over the #1 seed in the West here shortly.
All right, thank you, Cam and Pavy. Any final words?
I have a serious question for you. How the hell are the Blazers going to hold the Clippers to 105 points?
I just don't think it'll be a great shooting night for them. I think what we've seen on nights when they lose, a lot of times, more times than not, guys aren't making shots. Landry was hot today. Jermichael had a pretty good shooting game today. Lou Will had a pretty good shooting game today. Trez put up 34 today. I don't envision Lou Will and Montrez putting up 30 in back-to-back games apiece. If that happens, then somebody better write a letter.
Who's going to slow down Trez tomorrow?
I don't think it's not. I think Whiteside. I think a lot of people really underestimate how good Hassan Whiteside can be. Now, obviously, he's not gonna lock down the paint totally, but I think he can make it difficult. I definitely think he can make it difficult. Brook Lopez made it fairly difficult for them in the paint today, and Brook Lopez is not, when you think of rim stoppers, he's not the guy that you think of. Am I wrong?
No, you're not.
Hassan White.
34. He put up 34.
That's Brook Lopez. I don't think he's going to put up 34 on Hassan Whiteside. Hassan Whiteside is not a small guy. He's still fairly young, still very athletic, very strong, and it is a guy that can average 3 blocks if he actually. Hassan Whiteside has been one of those guys we've been talking about how good he is potentially for forever.
Right.
And his potential is centered around defense and rebounding. Yeah, no. But we talk about his potential in regards to his ability to be able to not only rebound and block shots, but also stay within the game and score. I'm not looking at him defensively and thinking that's going to be an issue. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. If Zubac come out tomorrow and go crazy, then okay, we got to have a conversation about Whiteside. But I don't think that's going to happen tonight. Okay, you can be mad at it. Let's be mad at it. That's what we built this platform off of. Anyways, it's been TPJ of the new show in LA. Thank you to Cam. Thank you to Pavy for joining me. I will get up with you all tomorrow night on the post game. Until then, we will get up with you later. Peace out, and thank you for tuning in.